What is going on, Raptors Nation? It is Luca here back with a post-game video. The Toronto Raptors, to no one's surprise, they lose again. They drop this game to the Oklahoma City Thunder, 123-103. We're going to talk about it. Do me a solid, guys. Hit a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Raptors post-game videos and just content in general over here on the Raptors Nation YouTube channel. So the Raptors, huge underdogs. The Raptors were the biggest underdog in franchise history in this spot at home. They were about 15.5-point dogs. And honestly, it looked like they were going to backdoor cover. The Toronto Raptors actually were still in this game by the time the fourth quarter started. I mean, this was a team that was pushing. And at one point, they had this lead down to 6. The Raptors were on the doorstep of pulling off the biggest upset, not only for this season, but in a very, very long time. The Toronto Raptors won the first quarter, 35-28, which was a win in its own right. And then the second quarter, OKC, they asserted themselves, outscoring the Raptors 35-21. But then the Raptors in that second half, they really pushed. They really showed their effort in this one, as shorthanded as can be. Gary Trent Jr. dealing with back spasms. He sat out. So all 5 regular starters for the Raptors out. The starting lineup for the Raptors in this one, a lineup that we're going to look back on couple of years from now and say, boy, how do we get through that one? Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, Agbaji, Freeman Liberty, Grady Dick. If you showed a Raptors fan that starting lineup at the start of the season, imagine that. But you got to give these guys credit. Look, nobody had the Raptors winning. The Raptors ended up not covering when it looked like they were maybe going to cover. For those of you who bet on this game, OKC winning by 20, but I thought it was going to be a lot worse. I might chalk this up as a moral victory because I know the final scores, they lost by 20, but like I said, this was a game somewhat in the fourth. And the Raptors were pressing, they were pushing, they made things interesting until OKC did make that final run to put this game officially away. But you got to credit what you saw from a team that was shorthanded, going against the number 1 seed in the West. This thing could have gotten ugly, 30, 40, even 50-point loss. I mean, the Raptors have had way worse losses this season than the one they had tonight. And you look at the play, Grady Dick really stood out to me. And I said on X, if the Raptors are going to lose these games, and they got blown in this one, but if Grady Dick plays well, I'm happy. And Grady Dick, after a stretch of rough outings, finally put together a nice game. A very, very nice game. 21 points, 5 rebounds, and assists, 8 of 15 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3, had a highlight reel dunk, getting to the rim, had a couple of spots in this one where he showed off his athleticism, got to the rim, proving to be more than just a shooter. And that's what Grady Dick needs to do over this final stretch of the season, over these final 12 games. He's got to really assert himself as being the guy on this team, because with no regular starter, Grady Dick is the number 1 option, and he's the guy who the Raptors just need to let loose, and Grady just has to let loose and really experiment with elements of his game, not only just, pulling up, shooting, spotting up, shooting the 3, shooting the mid-range shots, but putting the ball on the deck and getting to the rim, because there is a lot of that of his game that we've seen. The way he's able to cut has been really, really nice to see. So can Grady Dick continue to show his growth and development over this last 12-game stretch? And I said on the pod with Ron the other day, that's something I'm personally looking forward to. So I was really, really, really impressed with Grady Dick's performance in this one, as he had the Raptors in a position where they made it somewhat interesting. And that's all you can ask for in these spots. So you got to credit him. Freeman Liberty had 10 points. Agbaji, can he get it going offensively? His defense has been nice. 3 steals he had in this one. Kelly Olynyk, they interviewed his mom. Nice little bit there during the game. He had 16 points, 5 assists. And then you look at Wara. He had 12 from off the bench. And then I got to give a lot of credit to Garrett Temple, man. This is a guy who spent most of this season acting like an assistant coach, not playing, on the bench, talking to the players, coaching them in a sense. And this is a guy that got minutes in this one because the Raptors were as shorthanded as can be. He had 8 points, hit a couple of threes. He was a +10. So we got some nice Garrett Temple minutes in this one, folks. Jonte Porter, he had 7 points in 21 minutes, and then Ramsey had 7 points in 19 minutes. So this I thought was going to get really, really ugly. The fact that the Raptors made this watchable for most of the game, I would say, was a W in its own right. So the Raptors, they do lose, but they shot the ball well from the field, 52%. 3-point percentage was on par with OKC. They got out rebounded as you would expect, but the assists for the Raptors right on point. They did a really good job moving the ball around, but as to be expected, not having a true ball handler. The Raptors had 27 turnovers. I think I saw something like it was their most turnovers in a game since the late 90s. So it's been a while since the Raptors turned the ball over that many times. But again, to be expected with no true point guard out there. And the Raptors can say they led at one point in this game. Like I said, that first quarter, they came out and to everybody's surprise, they took it to OKC and they led by 11 at one point. And OKC's largest lead was 22. So this thing could have gotten way out of hand. It didn't. And the Raptors, I mean, respectable considering the circumstances. So they lose. They drop their 9th game in a row. This is a team that right now it's opened up that they're going to be 5.5-point underdogs against the Wizards. So the Raptors are not going to be favored to win a game down the stretch, it seems. And with their starters out, we don't know if Gary Trent Jr. is going to be back. Probably not on the second night of a back-to-back if he's dealing with back spasms. So Raptors, they're going to be in tough against the Wizards, but that is the name of the game for this Raptors team. And I purposely waited to do this post game because I wanted to see what was going to go on in the Grizzlies matchup against the Spurs. And the Grizzlies, guys, they won. So right now, currently, the Raptors have sole possession of the 6th worst record in the NBA. Now, the Grizzlies have played less games than the Raptors, and the Raptors got to play their game tomorrow, and they need to lose that game to maintain that lead of having the 6th worst record. But right now, the Raptors are officially in sole possession of the 6th worst record. So the agenda is simple. If your team tank and you want to see the Raptors lose here and try to keep their pick, the Raptors lose out or just finish with the 6th worst record at the end of the season, they would have a 45.8% chance, call it 46% chance of keeping their 2024 first-round pick. So a little less than 50%, but that's the situation they find themselves in because of the Jakob trade. So if you're on Team Tank and you want to see these losses amount to something, you're happy that the Grizzlies won, and at least the Raptors are ahead of the Grizzlies, and they control their own fate, where if they just keep losing these games, they're going to have that 6th worst record, and they're going to give themselves a chance of keeping that pick when it's all said and done. So Raptors Nation, let me know your thoughts on the game. Let me know your thoughts on the Raptors having the 6th worst record at the time of this recording. They're going to be back in action against the Wizards. They need to lose that game. They want to hold on to that lead. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Hit a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. That is it for me. It's Lucas signing off. Thanks so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next one.